is Arasu Sathyamurthy, the designation as Associate Professor. Now I'm going to brief about the fuel changeover procedure. What we are doing on board, how we are changing over the fuel, why that fuel oil changeover is required normally. So everything I'll brief accordingly. Okay, the process of switching from heavy fuel oil to marine gas oil in emission control area, particularly ECA area, is a critical operation for compliance with MARPOL Annex 6 regulation, which limits sulfur emission 0.1% within this zone. Below is detailed explanation of the procedure. Whatever I am explaining, you can. The fuel changeover procedure is made and kept ready of all vessels with approval from the company superintendent. Always keep ready on board for all crew familiarization to follow. In that, main engine, auxiliary engine and boiler fuel oil pipeline, including mixing column, the fuel volume from the service tank to the fuel pump calculated and marked. So before itself the volume is calculated. So for main engine, auxiliary engine, boiler, how much oil is there in the pipeline to be volume is calculated. And preparation before changeover. The timing calculation, how we are telling. The process begins before entering the ECA. Before itself, that navigation officer and master and chief engineer are aware when we are reaching the ECA, how much distance to go for the entering the ECA. The engineers calculate the time required for flushing the fuel system, and based on the fuel consumption rates, system volume and the sulfur content of the fuel of HM4 and MGO with the Phobos calculator. They given that calculator is called Phobos calculator. We used to calculate with the how much time is required for the changeover. Okay. The Phobos calculation is required following data to be filled. One is main engine, for that main engine, the total volume of fuel oil in entire pipeline in cubic meter, and during the time the vessel speed for consumption per hour, and then heavy oil sulfur content percentage and gas oil sulfur content percentage. These 4 columns we have to fill up after above the 4 entries. We'll get the required duration to be complete the fuel in the main engine pipeline. Same way we'll calculate the auxiliary engine fuel consumption during also boiler fuel oil consumption duration. And we ask the master and second mate wheelhouse, the second officer what date and time the vessel intend to enter the ECA zone. As per the calculated hours, we have to add 2 to 3 hours more for preparation for the changeover. So we can request them to inform the chief engineer or duty engineer. So when we are reaching the ECA, approximately inform them 10 to 11 hours before that ECA. For example, why I am telling 10 hours? For example, if we are getting for main engine, the duration is required for changeover process 8 hours. So we have to need another 2 hours to add, at least minimum 10 hours we required. So the 10 hours we can tell the duty officer to inform the engine room and chief engineer accordingly before 10 hours. If we are getting the duration of changeover, if required before ECA entry, as per the Phobos calculator, if it is 10 hours, we can add another 2 hours for the process for the completion. Okay. Now, this one is particularly for the Phobos calculator, based with the Phobos calculator, and the volume, and I told this vessel speed and the sulfur content of the heavy oil and gas oil sulfur content. Okay. Now, why these 2 hours extra? Because we are getting, suppose for example, 10 hours if we are getting, 12 hours we can tell them to inform. Because we are running with the engine for the injection temperature, approximately for the heavy oil, it's 125 to 135 degree as per the laboratory analysis and fuel injection temperature we followed on board. Now, we have to reduce the temperature before change over to the MGO from the temperature to bring down at least 90 degree, 85 to 90 degree, minimum 90 degrees we have to bring down. For that, we have to shut the steam of the heater, and if it is viscotherm setting to be reduced, then temperature of the steam will be blocked. Then with the consumption, as per the consumption, it will come down within 1 hour, 1.5 hours. The temperature will come down. When it comes 90 degree temperature, we are ready for changeover. Okay. Now, when it comes 90 degree, to avoid that gas vapor lock or shock, thermal shock. So we are reducing the temperature and changing over. Before changeover, open the MGO tank valve first and then close the HFO tank. That is always we have to follow, and open that one slowly and close. Now the oil is come from the heavy oil is stopped, and the gas oil is passing to the inside the line and going to the mixing column up to the end, and slowly the temperature will come down and the viscosity also will reduce slowly it will reduce. Once that, as per the duration, because this process will be takes about 1 hour, 1.5 hours. We need 10 hours already. We are calculating for 12 hours. So before 1 hour before itself, your changeover process will be completed. So when you are changing over from the heavy oil to diesel oil, that is the position is called commencement of changeover. This is called commencement of changeover. So this commencement of changeover, the date and time, and we have to ask the bridge to ask whoever the duty officer what is the position of the particular time commencement of changeover, and we have to inform them already changeover process is started. Now that commencement of changeover, please give the position. And during that time, we have to take all the tank soundings, HFO tank sounding and diesel oil and gas oil tank sounding also. Everything should be noted, that particular commencement of changeover. This should be recorded in the sulfur record book. This is called commencement of changeover. And after that, nearly about when it comes about 12 hours, so already it is coming nearly 11 hours something, your completion will be, the changeover process will be completed. The entire line will be flushed and pure oil, gas oil will be in the line. So that time is the completion of changeover. So that time also we can tell the bridge, now the changeover process is completed as per the calculation, and please give the position of the time. So we can note down the date, time and position, and that time tank soundings of the HFO and the gas oil sounding should be recorded. Everything recorded. Now changeover also completed. Then third position, after the now already changed over, everything is completed, we are safe now. Now after 1 hour, vessel is entering the ECA. When you are entering the ECA, that time the bridge duty officer will inform the engine room, vessel is entered in the ECA, so and so time, and the date and position, etc. These all three positions were, one is commencement of changeover and the completion of changeover, and third one is the ECA entry. After that, ship will be proceed there 1 hour, 1 day or 1.5 days, 2 days, whatever that, it will be in the MGO only with the less than 0.1% sulfur as per the requirement for the main engine. And same thing for the same applicable for this boiler and this auxiliary engines also. All three auxiliary engine line will be flushed and it will be changed over with the MGO, and the boiler will be flushed and changed over with the MGO. So all three machineries will be in advance changed over before entry the ECA. So all will be, we can enter in the logbook, official logbook also, and oil record book and sulfur record book before enter the ECA. After that, whatever the consumption, everything will be MGO that during the time. And when we are completing from there, when we are coming back, the same process will be vice versa. So before that one, when you are exit ECA, they will give the position. We need not to worry about that. They will give the exit of ECA. So now they will inform this time, so and so date, time, the position, the ship will be exit from the ECA. So this position, exit ECA also we have to note down. Then particular time we have to take the sounding for the MGO and AVL, what is the ROB. And MGO, the HFO will be same, only we are not used. And we have to check. And then MGO, what is the consumption during the port stay and whatever the passage, everything. Now what is the ROB of the MGO should be recorded with the sulfur record book. Then we can do slowly, start increasing the temperature slowly with the heater, open the steam and increase that viscotherm slowly, because temperature that time may be around 40 degrees above the room temperature of the engine room. So we have to bring it the temperature at least 80 to 85 degrees before changeover. So should not be increased quickly, slowly open, and when it comes the temperature slowly at 85 degree temperature, then open that HFO line valve first and then close the diesel oil valve. Then heavy oil is coming in the line, it mixes with the diesel oil, and slowly the temperature we have to bring it up. This is called commencement of changeover. We can take and note down the position and time and everything. And the same way we can exit commencement of changeover also with the heavy oil also note down and can be recorded. Then after that we have to bring it temperature as per the injection temperature, 13 CST, whatever required, bring the temperature 125, 130, that temperature you can calculate, that is the completion of changeover, the time and position note down also. So the process is completed now. Now during the time, now what is that heavy oil is there on board, what is that MGO is remaining on board, everything will be calculated and make the entry in the our sulfur record book, oil record book, official logbook. This process is very important because sometimes when we are in the port, if we are not do the process properly, they will come, that PSC will come on board, port state control. They will check that sample from the main engine, boiler and auxiliary engine sample point. They will check that this percentage of sulfur, whether it is less than 1% is there or it is not properly maintained and is more than 1% means ship will be fined. So we have to be very careful in that. To avoid that one, we have to do the changeover procedure carefully as per the company advice and what is the procedure they advised and procedure to be followed properly. The duty engineer, chief engineer and other engineers to be followed and properly take time and consume that oil without any violation, and we have to use that. Otherwise, it will be really problem for the master and chief engineer and company. Thank you very much.